Hi everyone, this is Deb, and this is our day one of the EASTMORELAND mini charm friendly quilt that we're going to do either as Kathy Schmitz has designed it, or if you'd like to decorate it in a holiday style, you can certainly do that. And I think that that's what I'm going to do. I'm pretty sure it is. So I don't have the best setup here to do everything that I want to do. So I may have to adjust the camera around a little bit. Also, I only have 30 minutes of recording time, and I hope I can get everything in that I want to talk to you and tell you about within a 30-minute period. If I do not, then I'll have to do a part 2. So I've tried to have everything as organized as possible. Oops, and of course, first thing I do is bump the camera. So, okay, so let's go over the supplies list really quick. You are going to need, obviously, the pattern, which looks like this, and I've got it all organized out. In addition to the pattern, which you can purchase from Kathy Schmitz on her website. She's got a Shopify site. And I'll link that as well. And I've also linked it in our, the announcement that I did earlier. But you'll also need the pattern accents, and the pattern accents are free. They look like this, and they are free on Kathy's site. And so you'll probably also want those, and we'll talk more about those in our next video. You will want to have some of the mini charm packs. Now what she has used, let me take this out because it's probably shiny, is the home. That's the pattern, that's what the pattern calls for, is home, and it looks like this. And you'll need 2 of these, of the mini charm packs. If you don't want to use home, if you want to use what you have, they would also be done really cute if they were in, you know, just whatever you happen to have. If it's a primitive, they would be really cute in Christmas fabrics. And if you don't have a mini charm pack, like I also have, you know, this big one, you can cut it down. A 5x5, if you have the 5x5 charm packs, those are really ideal because then you only need 1 of those instead of 2 of these. So, but I went out there and looked because I'm thinking that maybe I might do mine in a Christmas fabric. And so some of the ones that I really liked were Snow Kissed. And I didn't write down who that was by. Sweet Holly by Kansas Troubles was really cute. Merry Memories by San Diego Sewn, which was very unusual. I've never heard of San Diego Sewn. Marianne's Gift, 1850 to 1880 by Betsy Crutchian. I love Betsy Crutchian fabric, so. Modern Lodge by Painted Sky Studios. But you know what? Just go out there and go through your stash, see what you've got. Because you can also use scraps. Homespuns, plaids, solids, muslins, whatever you happen to have out there. So you're also, here's the list, your supply list. You're also going to need a lightweight fusible web. She uses soft fuse. I also use soft fuse. I recommend soft fuse because it's very easy to use and it has a very soft hand. It does not lift, and it is very, very soft. It just feels like part of the fabric. It doesn't feel stiff like some of them do. And it's very easy to needle through. But again, you're not going to use this as a quilt. I mean, it's going to be either a wall hanging or you're going to put it on the canvas like Kathy has recommended. And so it doesn't really matter if it gets stiff because you're not going to use it as a quilt for your bed. It calls for lightweight batting. I used the Hobbs. Again, it's very thin, it's very lightweight. You could also use the, what do you call that? That Warm and Natural. I also like Warm and Natural. However, Warm and Natural can have some of this scruffiness come through, but you're not going to stitch through it anyway, so it doesn't matter. Also, embellishments. She calls for different types of embellishment: buttons, rickrack, ivory, beads, decorative ribbon. You could also use lace. I'm going to do mine. I really am going to do mine in at least a winter type scene. And so I'm going to also have snow on mine and different things like that. If you want to do yours as a canvas, then you're going to need a 16 by 20 wrapped canvas that is 1 inch in depth. And she's just saying get an inexpensive one from the craft store. I will show you how to do that, but I'm not gonna have mine on a canvas, I don't believe. I think I'm gonna do mine as a finished quilt. So, but we'll see when we get down to it. Also, let's go back up here. She uses the Moda Marble Flannel in Jet. Now, I assume that they still have that. I don't know. You'll need a 21 by 26 inch piece. I'm just using regular flannel in black. So it doesn't look mottled. It just looks like a solid black, which is what this is. Okay. And again, that's 21 by 26. 21 by 26. Okay, so now let's go on and let's talk about the thread. Let's go back up here and talk about thread. Now, this is one of the things that I did because I didn't know what I wanted to use. I've got a whole big variety, and I'm sure that you do as well, of all different kinds of threads. Some of them may be your absolute favorite and you just love them and you already know what you're going to use. I don't, or I didn't. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to audition my threads. So this is the way I did that. So I just pulled out all the different ones that I had that I thought that I might like to use. So I auditioned them on the corner of my flannel, my piece of flannel. And so this one is the DMC number 5. It was a little heavy for me, so because these are so small, and I felt like that trying to do the trees and things like that was going to be too heavy, so I said no. The next one that I also like, I really like sulky thread, and some of the things I like about it is it's very, very soft and easy to use. I love this color, which is an ecru, and that's the color that she recommends is ecru. And it is kind of shimmery, as you can see. It's kind of got a little bit of a shimmer to it. And I really like that. So I tried it in 2 different ways. I tried it like this, which is a single strand. Then I tried it in a double strand. And I did like that. That was definitely my first choice to start with. Then I tried the DMC in ecru and double strand as she recommends, and I really like that because since it's wintry, I wanted it to be a little brighter of a white than this. This is beautiful, but because it's kind of snowy, I kind of thought that this was going to be the best for me. So this is where I ended up. But I also tried this one, which is a Valdani 12 in color 576, which as you can see is a variegated. And it's not bad. I mean, I have to be honest with you, Valdani is not my favorite thread, and it tangles easy. I don't know why. I've never liked Valdani, and I've got 57 rolls of this stuff. And so, but anyway, so I think at this point, unless I change my mind, which I don't think I will, I'm going to go with the Ecru and the DMC, floss. So that's my plan at this point. So you'll also see here that I have some other things, and this is to show you what, how to do the different stitches, but I'm not at that point yet. So in order to stay organized, let's go on to the next thing, which is, okay, also, the next thing that you want to do is move down here to the prep area on the pattern. And you'll notice that on her website, she had a correction that this, rather than this being diagonally, it should be vertically. And obviously when you go to do this, you'll find out that's to be the case. So first thing I did was I did zigzag around my, it's kind of hard to tell because I did it in black, but I did zigzag around my flannel piece. I folded it in half diagonally and vertically, or not diagonally, vertically and horizontally. She called for finger pressing it. I did not. I actually pressed it with my iron, and the reason why I did that is so that when I am demonstrating to you, these lines will be a little more crisp and you'll be able to see the next step that I do. So if you're good with finger folding it, then, or finger pressing it, then that's great. So she also calls for using these lines as a guide to mark a rectangle that is 15 by 19 centered on the fabric. Now, I like to do things in a really organized way, and so what I did was, or at least let me say this, in a way that makes my job easier. So this is what I did. Let me move my little thing here. And sorry, my chair is so squeaky. Let me move some of these things. Get them out of the way. Okay. And my thread. All right. So let me see if I can't move this up. This is my plan anyway. And see how this works out. Fingers crossed here, ladies. Fingers crossed. Okay, so now I'm going to move over here to the other side. And I'm going to bring my fabric. So I hope that I am on... Let me shake this so it can start getting hot. I hope I'm on camera. So also, I wanted to mention to you that there is a wrong side and a right side of flannel as well. And when I get back over there, I'll show you that you can certainly tell the difference. The right side of the flannel is fuzzier, whereas the back side isn't. So that's technical right there. So what I did was I cut a piece of freezer paper in the 15 by 19. Fold, and as you know, when you're using freezer paper, there's also a right side and a wrong side. The shiny side is the side that you iron down. So that's the shiny side is the side that touches your fabric. Okay, but when you fold this, fold it right sides together, and I'll show you why that is. So you're going to open up your flannel here, and you can see, hopefully you can see the lines where I pressed it. Okay, now I haven't actually done this for real life, so let's see how this works. Plus I'm limited on space, and all I've got is this little ironing thing over here. So theoretically, you should just be able to, because this is folded in fourths, and you can see your lines here, you can just, let me make sure I got it the right way. I do. Okay, and if you're not exact, it really is not that big of a deal. And then you're gonna line this up. So you're basically gonna line your lines up. I'm gonna open this up. Hopefully this is hot enough. And then you're gonna iron this down. Just like this. And then this is going to be your guide. I mean, I tried to think of all different kinds of ways. You know, I could use a, you know, a friction pin, all different other kinds of things. But here's the deal. I mean, it's black. And so, you know, then I thought, well, I use a white, you know, the white quilt, the Sew-Line quilt chalk pencils, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do this. So you can do it any way you want, whatever tools that you have and whatever techniques that you like to use, go for it. This is your project, and that's exactly the way you should do it. But this is the way I'm going to do it, just to show you a different way. So move my threads here. Finish ironing this down. Get this one little corner, and then I'm done. Yeah, looks good on the back side too. Okay, so now I'm going to move back over here and bring my fabric with me and move my camera. Let's move my camera back down here like this. Sorry about all this moving, but you know, it is what it is. Now I like to have my mat underneath my sewing like this. Let me sit back down here and move some of this stuff so that it's not in the way. I'll show you what I'm using this for here in a little bit. Because when you've got this mat underneath of your sewing, it makes your sewing so much easier. Okay, so let's turn it like this. Another thing that you could use if you don't have a mat, which who doesn't have a cutting mat, but if you didn't for some reason, you could use those plastic tables. So she says to, let me get my thread here. I got everything all ready. She says to use this line. Make sure I'm on camera. Let me scoot this up a little tad. Okay. To use this line as a basting line. Now, I used a big needle with a big eye and big thread so that you could see that, hopefully. So, you're just going to put a running stitch, or, yeah, I mean, it is a running stitch, but she's calling it basting. So you're going to baste all the way around this, just like this, to show your line. Because you're going to do your cross stitch in your other. So you're just going to run that along this line like this in a running stitch. Make sure I'm still on camera here. Yeah, I think I am. And you're going to do this all the way around. Now, for time purposes, I obviously will not do that today. because, as I said before, I only have 30 minutes. So I'm having to zing along here pretty quick. I will also show you how to do cross stitch. That's my plan. How to do the cross stitch and the stem stitch and the running stitch. Or not the running stitch. Well, yeah, this is the running stitch, but okay, so you can see that that's, can you see? There we go. That's running right along the edge here of this paper. Once you go all the way around it, you will, you can take the paper off. You don't need the paper anymore. And the paper is reusable, that you can then use it for something else. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next part. Okay, so the next part is she calls for, now we've moved up here to the embroidery part. Okay, so she's talking about the basting line, which is what we did here. Okay, up on page 1, then she's talking about that you're going to make the cross stitches that are about 1/4 inch tall. If you are, you know, if you really want it to be exact, here's a way that you could do that. You could use your ruler, and along that stitch line, you could set it 1/4 inch. See how I've done here? And you can take some kind of tape. This happens to be washi tape. I don't know if I can do this from here or not, but I'll give it a try. And you could just run that. Washi tape is, it's not permanent. And so now you have a 1/4 inch line in which you can do your cross stitches. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do now, is your cross stitches. So let me move these. Let me get my next needle. Thank you, Maxine, for my cute little needle thing. Okay, so with cross stitches, you can either start at the right or the left. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which position. Some stitches it matters, and you will see that when we get started. That looks bigger than 1/4 inch to me. Let's see. Well, maybe it is too big. It's hard for me to tell from this position without being up on it. Let me scoot that up a little bit. See how you can just pull this up? Washi tape is wonderful stuff. You can probably see it better than me. Tell me when to stop. Don't really want my cross stitches to be that big. Okay, close enough for gum at work. Okay, so this is the way I do my cross stitches. Kathy shows you how to do it a different way. This is the way I do it. Okay, I start up. I pull it through like this. At the bottom, I come across like this and then straight down. See if I can't pull this up some where you can see it. Of course, that's caught on there. So you've got a cross Where am I at? Here we go. Again, over, straight down. Oh goodness, this is so awkward. Sewing should not be this hard. And it isn't, as we all know. Okay. Over, about the same width as this. Straight down. Well, there's my iron. That shut off is a big pain, I'll tell you. Okay, so this is the way I do it. I'm going to go all the way around with one side. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the next cross. Okay, so when I'm doing that, I'm going to come back over here where I was at, the one next to it. And you want to be as close to that hole as you can be. And if you can get in it, that's great. You just do not want to pierce either this thread or this thread. Come over here. And here. See, I pierced that. You don't want to do that. And back up here where you started. And then when you look at the back, which I will show you, you can see that they're just straight lines. Okay, so you've got crosses on the front and you've got straight lines on the back. So that's how you do a cross stitch. Now let me show you how to do this next part, which is when you're looking at the pattern. So here's the line of cross stitching, and here's the line of cross stitching, and then she's got straight lines that go out, as you can see around here. Okay, now she calls for those straight lines to be a running stitch, which is this one right here. This is the running stitch. This is a back stitch. Okay, so that is my 28-minute, Alexa, stop. That's my 28-minute alarm. So I'm going to have to come back and show you how to do this next part in part 2 of the video. So I'll be back momentarily.